Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at XM's Necrophos. This build is insane. Let's quickly cover the build. So basically, it's going to be building off the aghanim scepter. If you don't know what the Ags does on Necrophos now, they changed it, and it means that Heartstopper's health decay is increased by 60% of your current HP regen. This means you do more damage when you're Ghost Shrouded, when you get Reaper Sight stacks, if you buy Heart of Tarask, if you amp that regen with Kaya Sanj, all of these things that give HP regen, including something like Aesthetics Cap, give damage, right? And so the build is probably pretty clear. Well, you know, in the early game, it's he rushes Kaya Sanj, which I find a bit weird, but you know, it's a lot of damage. It allows you to be tanky and definitely do a lot of damage. Then you buy your shard at around minute 15. It lets you one-shot waves and have mobility. And from there, you're going to go Lotus. I think that's obviously because he's against something like Chains and he's against Swap. Maybe there was a Vessel as well. Lotus tends to be OP on this hero because of Vessel, but there was no Vessel, so he might have partially just bought it for armor against Drow. The Ags against Drow is a hard counter to Necro, right? Because you get anti-healing when you have stacks, so you purchase stacks, the chains, etc. So it's obviously a very good game to have a Lotus, right? Some armor. From there, Blink Dagger to get on top of people and psych people, especially with the shard. And then Ags, and after Ags, you go hard, right? And this is when you shred. There are some Radiance variants as well, but this build is pretty nuts. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you. Because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the Game League website is going to help you get to the next level, so click the link down below and sign up. So the laning stage on Necro is pretty simple. Nothing has really changed. You're going to take your Q at level 1 and you're going to use it to secure creeps and harass enemies at the same time, right? Secures the first melee, walks up to the range creep. He actually pulls aggro off of the range creep here, which maybe he shouldn't have done, as he's going to go for the range deny here. Wow, Ember just gives it up straight up. Okay, but yeah, you're gonna skill your Q, then your E. The only thing I'll say, right, if I skip ahead, the only thing I'll say is he doesn't take Ghost Shroud, and personally, I find this to be foolish. I think taking the last point of Death Pulse over taking a point in Ghost Shroud is just a mistake. Having the amp heal from Ghost Shroud when you get a kill with the Reaper Scythe, or just amping up Death Pulse, or your Magic Wand charges, is incredibly significant, right? It's very significant. Yes, it's only 45% restoration, but I still think it keeps you alive a lot of the time. It slows the people chasing you. It's only 50 mana. It really feels great in my opinion. So yeah, because he's owning the lane, I can kind of see why maybe he would skip it, but at least he takes it at level 8. And from there, it's kind of just a game of farming, right? You really just want to push out the mid wave when Scythe is down and then farm nearby neutral camps. Don't overcomplicate the game. If you're mid necro, safe lane necro, off lane necro, just push out the lane and then farm nearby camps when your ulti is down. When your ulti is up, you can look for kills and try to gank lanes, right? As once again, he's going to push out the mid lane, rotate towards the Ember, push out the next mid lane, maybe he'll collapse bottom. He's kind of looking top here, obviously looking to grief the Ember. Gets him with the scythe. Oh no, not the buyback. You hate to see it. Yeah, from there it's just rinse, repeat, and he's using the efficient camps to drag them together and farm them, right? There's a ton of these different types of camps throughout the map, right? These two work. These two are actually a little bit harder. These two work. These back camps work. There's a lot of camps around the map that you can drag together and nuke, and that's the most efficient way to farm on Necros, so definitely keep that in mind when you're playing the hero. And once again, when Scythe is coming back up, you look to get kills to get your Scythe stacks so that you have more regen throughout the game, right? As he walks in here, he's going to chase out the Drow a little bit, right? Gets a little bit low, pops the W to not tank the tower, ulti on the Ghost on the Drow Ranger, takes him out, gets his stacks up, and now he's feeling good, right? He's 3-1 with 109 CS in minute 12, topping the CS charts, only beaten out by a Terrorblade. So I would like to kind of stress how important it is to buy your shard. I think a lot of people kind of don't understand the importance of shard. If you don't buy shard, you can't really clear waves in a very safe way. It just takes 5 seconds where you have to like sit on top of the wave and try to CS, and it feels terrible, right? It really does feel terrible. So if you buy your shard, it gives you a second death pulse that, by the way, can be used on allies to disengage. This ability is incredibly good, as it's almost like a force staff or like a blink dagger that you can use when even being attacked. You'll notice right on the mid wave here, right? Death pulse in, drops the Q, and it one-shots the wave. It's very, very efficient, right? Yes, it's a kind of a long cooldown compared to your Q, but of course that's okay because you're one-shotting the waves. As once again, if he wants to do it, he doesn't do it here because I think he's watching the map, he's like, all right, I could get gone on, I'll save it to disengage. And that's smart, because he could use it on his creep wave behind him to actually get out if needed, right? And that's what's so cool about this hero now. Alright, at this point in the game, this is where Necro becomes an insane hero. Like, honestly, it really is an insane hero. Because now, at level 20, you have Heartstopper regen reduction, so people heal less when you're close to them. Your Heartstopper just does a ton of damage inherently. And now you have Heart, you have a ton of built-up scythe stacks. He has 7, which is giving him 24 HP regen. He has 20 regen from Ascetic's Cap, which is an incredibly good item on this hero, but it means that you can't get chain stun, can always get off your Lotus and your W, and yeah, he can just kind of go in and you'll see the AoE damage in this team fight. It's kind of one of those things where, like, it's maybe not as broken as you might think. It's not like it just instantly kills them, right? But you will notice that it just does damn good damage as he blinks in here. And start to look at everyone's health. Venge just casually loses like a 10% of her health, right? Just from him being close. Now, when he eventually clicks his W, it's going to do even more. He scythes the Drow kind of early, but gets her low, right? It's kind of setting up for the Terrorblade so he can get in position, which is actually not a bad idea. There's very few Necros that do this, but it's kind of decent to use it as a stun if your team is going on someone like Drow and you really need to just get on the Drow. From there, his just general presence. Yes, some of this is just gyrocopter damage, right? Definitely some of it's gyrocopter damage, but you can see these consistent 26s, 20s, right? The Drow's going to be taking 20s. The Venge will be taking 20s. It's just so much AoE damage that adds up. Like, look at these guys. They're all just kind of dying, right? They're all just sort of dying slowly. And that's how it goes. When you pop your W, 220 HP regen, right? That is insane. 60% of that, right? Which is like 140 is just AoE damage, right? That's nearly 3 radiances. It's like 2.5 radiances. That is insane, right? It's just crazy, crazy damage. So yeah, that's why this build's kind of OP. You eventually hit this timing where even when he goes on this Ember, right? Look at this guy's health. I'm gonna play it from Ember's perspective so you can kind of see it. As the Necro walks close to him, he's at 2,200, 2,220. Now he starts ticking. And look, it's just going down. A second later, he's at 2,100. Now he's just at 2,000. He doesn't even see the Necro yet. Necro pops W, all of a sudden he's just missing 300 health. And that's not even factoring in the fact that he has HP regen, right? And he has a Trickster's Cloak. This guy has magic resist. Eventually he gets sundered. He tries to get out, but he's just dead. Pretty unbelievable, right? I mean, it's just, that's on one hero. So you can imagine in a team fight, if you manage to get to this item timing, which a lot of people don't because they just don't farm enough, right? He has 402 CS more than the enemy carry, right? If you can get to this timing, it is unbelievable what you do. And finally, to end up your build, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, right? There's definitely a bunch of lines that you can go, but I like the overwhelming blink. It just kind of means that people will stay in the Heartstopper aura. The downside of this build is Heartstopper aura. It's 800, which is like, it's good, but you'll notice it's not like massive, so you kind of have to get in the middle of the enemy team and keep them around. And overwhelming blink is extremely good at that, right? Because of the AoE damage. But yeah, in this team fight here, pops the Ghost Shroud, kind of walks forward, gets a little bit stuck. Like, you don't want to overcommit too hard, which is sort of why he uses the Shard to get out. And the fight gets a little awkward, right? Obviously, when people pop BKBs, your hero doesn't necessarily do very much, and that's where things can get hard, as he is actually getting kited pretty damn hard in this team fight. Obviously, I think in High Mamar, this hero's a bit worse because people naturally kite out better, and so it's definitely harder to finish off kills. But look what he's doing. I mean, it's just devastating. They cannot kill him. They cannot get him low, and he's just continuing to blink in and blink in and blink in with this overwhelming blink and just destroy the enemy's health over time. But alright, that's going to be all for today's video. I just want to kind of showcase the power of this item build and the potential. I also like giving you guys hopefully good ideas and fun ideas to play in pubs, and I think this is one of those builds that's not only a blast and really cool, but also just good, right? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!